Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go Quick Look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and today we are looking at the Masashi Kobo Damascus SLD Gyuto 10mm knife. This line of knives has a core steel of SLD high-speed tool steel. We categorize it as semi-stainless because the chromium rating, I believe, has to be 13% chromium content to be classified as full stainless, and this can vary anywhere from like 11 to 13, so it's slightly under full stainless rating or status. The heat treat's about 61 Rockwell on that core steel, and the construction is a multi-layered, softer stainless cladding over the top of that core steel, and you can definitely see it's got a mirror polish to the blade. I'll try to keep the reflections down. So it's an all stainless / semi-stainless blade. There's no full reactive carbon steel here. The weight on the knife is 180 grams or 6.3 ounces. A little bit heavy for the style, but they've got a tall knife, and it's their particular style. We'll see that. The blade length on this is a bit oversized at 217mm from tip to chin here at the back of the heel. This will vary a little bit from knife to knife. The overall length, about 13.8 for the whole knife. And then the thickness of the knife coming out of the handle right above the back of the chin here is about 3mm. And then these knives do have a real nice distal taper. We'll get a closer look at that. They just thin out gradually and thin out gradually till you hit the grind to a very fine tip on these. One of the characteristic features of this line of knives, and they're basically identical to the non-Damascus style in terms of their styling and sizes and so on, is their height. So they're generously proportioned height-wise. This is 51.3 back at the chin here to the spine. The handles are just basic, no frills, D-shaped, kind of burnt chestnut with a plastic ferrule. You do have a step here between the ferrule and the wood. Nothing fancy, but they actually do surprisingly good job from a tactile sense, and they've got a bit of a nice feel to them in terms of the characteristics of the handles. So yeah, they're cheap, but they actually work pretty well. A heavier handle would bring the balance point back a little more, so this might be a good candidate for an aftermarket handle because this is a really nicely executed blade. The handle circumference is about 76mm, about 3 inches right here, and pretty standard size. So as I said, these are generously sized. You've got a nice curve here to the choil into the neck or emoto on the knife. Fit and finish is really well done on these blades. They are very high level on the fit and finish. Let's take a look. You've got some chiseled kanji here. It's a little hard to pick that up with all the lighting here and the shininess, but it's there. It's nicely done. Here's a good look at the cladding into the core steel at the edge. Real nice convexing on these. And it starts way up here. So they bring the grind pretty high on the knife on these. And the fit and finish is, like I said, just great. The spine is nicely done. Here's your taper. They have almost a continuous distal taper all the way down to a very thin tip. And fit the nice rounded spine, or I should say choil area here into the neck. Just top flight fit and finish on these all the way around. Out of the box edge is quite good as well. On this particular one, about a 6 out of 10, although it'll probably get a little sharper if you know what you're doing. Well, let's take a look at the balance point and the profile. And we'll get a choil shot as well. So here's the balance point. It's a little front heavy just because the handle's pretty light and it's a tall blade and it's not super duper laser thin. So you got a little meat to it. But that's their style. All their Gyutos have that particular style to them. Here is a choil shot, so they actually get quite thin right at the edge. And here's your profile. And that's the other characteristic of this line of knives from Masashi Kobo is the flat heel area. These are designed to have a long flat spot, and they usually don't disappoint with a heavy arc towards the belly, or the tip I should say, a heavy belly towards the tip. So you flow into a big old flat spot. For a 210, that's a pretty long flat spot. And then you get a real aggressive curve or belly towards the tip. So you can get really high on the rocking on these, but yet still have a pretty darn long flat spot. For a 210, this has quite the flat spot. But, so they have a very particular style of profile to them. So you can see the tip is almost halfway up the blade. Almost like a Kefart outdoor knife style, spear point style. So there, there's your profile, and it's something you'll either probably like or you won't. I guess I would categorize it almost as a general purpose profile because it does have a lot of belly towards the tip for pretty high rocking, as well as a pretty long flat spot. So take that for what it's worth. So there you have a very, very interesting lineup of knives. The Masashi Kobo Damascus SLD Gyuto 2 10mm knife.